I would like to start this video off by giving a huge thank you to the X-Hunters for their help and permission for allowing me to use some of their photos from their website. I have put a link to their website in the description below. Go check them out. On the morning of July 11th, 1986, Major Ross Edward Mulhare took off in F-117A Nighthawk number 792 from Tonopah Test Range at 1:13 a.m. Even though he was in an invisible-to-radar stealth fighter, air traffic control thought they were tracking an A-7D attack aircraft on night training. He flew out of Tonopah at 1:13 a.m. right here, then flew over the Sierra Nevadas at about 25,000 feet, right around here, then turned southeast right about here to head towards the weapons range at Edwards Air Force Base right here. About 31 minutes after takeoff, he called the Los Angeles Air Traffic Control Center and requested permission to descend to 17,000 feet at 1:44 a.m. He was given permission, then he canceled IFR or Instrument Flight Rule with Los Angeles Air Traffic Control Center. About 1 minute later, at 1:45 a.m., the aircraft quickly vanished off of several civilian and military radar systems. It was in this approximate location where he called the Los Angeles Air Traffic Control Center and requested permission to descend to 17,000 feet, somewhere in this general area here, and that's just an assumption on my part. He was on a heading towards the weapons range at Edwards Air Force Base. And he impacted the ground right here. So here I am at the location where the Nighthawk impacted the ground. Of course, that happened over 38 years ago, so there's little to no evidence. And because it was a top secret aircraft at the time, the Air Force did a pretty thorough job of cleaning the area up. So far, I haven't seen even a tiny piece of debris. I know they're up here somewhere, but this is all grown over. And I think this is the spot here, because there is an indentation in the ground right there, and judging from photos I've seen, this appears to be about the right area where it impacted. So you can kind of see right here that is an indentation, and the aircraft came from up in this direction, and in order to clear those ridges up there, it had to be coming down at a fairly steep angle. So they said up to 60 degrees, probably closer to 60, no less than 20. But I'm guessing probably 60. Impacted here. It left an impact or an imprint on the ground in the shape of the aircraft. And there's photos of it by a group called the X-Hunters. If you check this photo out here, you could see from far away there is a shape of the Nighthawk. And then they do a close-up one. You could see where it looked like the bottom of the aircraft impacted the ground right there in that shape and made the same shape as the Nighthawk. You can see the shape of the Nighthawk right here, and the shape of this close-up photo are identical. And back here at the crash site, I'm pretty sure this was the impact point right here. It's very steep, but there is an indentation here, and it's kind of out of place. It's not a continuation of something else, but you could see here where the edge of the rocks just kind of get cut into right here. Let me zoom back a little. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but you can just kind of see this cut. It comes down from here, and there's that indentation all through here, which is about the size of what that aircraft would have made if it impacted right here. And up there is a flagpole for a memorial, but doesn't have a flag on it. I brought a flag with me. I'm going to put a flag up there to keep it flying in his memory. Looks like nobody's been here in a while, and I could see why. Getting out here is extremely difficult. but it's worth it. And just like that, I fell down. That's how steep it is here. So right now I'm standing in what appears to be the impact crater, or what's left of it from many years ago. Like I said, it's hard to see on the camera, but when you're here, you can see a definite indentation right here in this location. So they said he came from here, from this direction, at a steep angle, impacted about right here, and I read an article where it said it bounced off the ground and then exploded, and debris went out in that direction. I'll have to check that out later on the way out, but so far I haven't seen even a tiny piece. However, I will check on the way out. At one time, this site had visitors on a fairly regular basis that would replace the memorial flag when needed. After seeing the flagpole and not seeing even a tiny trace of a flag anywhere, it was obvious the memorial had not had visitors in years. This place is not easy to get to. I had to buy a small two-person raft from Walmart in order to cross the Kern River before I could begin the hike. There was no defined trail to the location, so I had to blaze my own trail through extremely rugged terrain and steep embankments. This canyon is infested with poison ivy and stinging nettle. I think I've been stung by stinging nettle about 8,000 times right now. So I could see where I'm headed. Right there where that cow is, that's where I'm headed. It's not that far. Over here, you can see where I'm parked, but I have to walk on this razor's edge here of rocks up this spine to get up to this clear area so I could walk across, because walking through this treacherous creek is just virtually almost impossible unless you want to get infested with poison ivy and stung by 8 million stinging nettle. My fingers stinging, my legs are stinging, my arms are stinging, part of my face is stinging because stinging nettle hit me everywhere. So this looks like the easiest path, across the top and down that way. Let's see what happens. However, it was worth every bit of the challenge to put a new flag at the memorial for a man who deserves to have his memorial remembered after giving the ultimate sacrifice in the service of his country. Major Ross E. Mulhare, gone but not forgotten. The crash report said he slipped into a high-velocity dive of probably 60 degrees and was not tumbling. Major Mulhare was killed instantly. It is believed he became spatially disoriented during his turn and descent to the southeast. Major Ross Edward Mulhare was a son, a brother, a husband, and a father of 3. This is the obituary from Bergen County, New Jersey. Ross was buried at George Washington Memorial Park in Paramus, Bergen County, New Jersey. Well, I looked around and didn't find a single piece, but that's okay. This is the location, impacted right about there. And you can see the memorial flag blowing up there. In memory of Major Ross Edward Mulhare. So there you have it, right here on the Forrest Haggerty channel. A brief description of the F-117 Nighthawk Stealth Fighter number 792 that crashed in the early morning hours on July 11th, 1986 in the hills northeast of Bakersfield, California.